Hi kids, how are you? So let's continue with history chapter 3, the Delhi Sultans. Now kids, you already know in the 12th century the first kings over there expanded their kingdoms. Okay, they took a hold in Delhi and they made Delhi as their kingdom. So who were the first one to do so? They were the Rajputs, the Tomars, and the second were the Chauhans. In the mid of 12th century, the Chauhans defeated the Rajputs and they took over. And so because of this two main powers in Delhi got very commercialized, means people over there came and started selling, buying goods. Because of this, rich merchants from different places, they found they can earn a lot over here, so they started settling over there. They started getting their families in Delhi. They to purchase their houses. They built special temples for and temples or mosque for themselves, and they all started living over there. So over there, buying and selling of goods took place. Because of that, coins were minted, and those coins were known as Dilliwal. What were they known? Nowadays we have coins, we call it paisa, correct? And we have rupees also. In olden days there was no rupees, it was only coins, and that was called as mudras. So this coin in Delhi which was started, that was known as Dilliwal. Okay, it's a name of that coin, like mudra. Which mudra it was? The coin was Dilliwal. Yeah. Then, as I said, as the kingdom was confirmed over there, slowly they started extending their kingdoms. They started defeating other places and they extended, they broadened their kingdoms. Now kids, we will learn about how was the thinking of the people. First and foremost, you should know the coins. The you all remember what are manuscripts? Manuscript, in olden days there were no papers, correct? So all the things were written either on the bark of a tree or on inscriptions means on the rocks, on the walls, on the stones. So they are known as inscriptions. And manuscripts means when we write on the bark of a tree. So there was a big procedure. It was not that we just break one leaf or we just remove one bark and start writing on it. There was no pen, nothing. So there were 4 steps in it. If you see the picture over here. Stepwise it is given. First thing, there are 4 steps, correct? To write a manuscript means to write a book. Nowadays we call it a book, correct? In olden days that was a manuscript. Writing of something on a leaf, on a bark of a tree. Clear? So what were the 4 steps? One is to prepare the paper, means the bark of the tree, they have to make it very thin, correct? It is so fat, na, thicker in size, the bark of the tree. So first, can you see over here, this person is making the paper, means making the bark of the tree very straight and thinner. Then the second thing, with a pointed like a pencil, but not a pencil, okay, a stick they take, pointed, they make it very pointed, a stick, and they dip it in a ink. There was a special ink made by them, okay, and then they write. So writing also takes a lot of time. Second step was writing. Third step was now things which they wanted to highlight, like for example, king has done something very special and he wants to highlight it. So what the king used to say, highlight it with gold. So how we can do that? So gold has to be melted. How gold is melted? Very much heat is required. At a very high temperature, piece of gold will start melting, and that liquid gold, with the help of a stick, they will do the highlighting or the underlining of the main words or the paras or sentences. So this was the third step, highlighting with gold. And fourth is, now so in one paper, means one bark of a tree, one thing is written. So that way many barks of the trees are there, na? So we have to make it a book. So it is called binding of the book. So see over here, this person is doing the work of binding. So totally there are 4 steps when you have to make a manuscript. Manuscript is a old days book which they used to use, which was not made of paper, it was made of bark of trees. Clear the 4 steps? Yeah. Then kids, in olden days there were different, you can say they were educated people, they had good knowledge. Okay. Now first and foremost, how we come to know all about 20th 12th century, it is because of old inscriptions, coins, manuscripts, correct? All these informations we found, and this we found because of archaeologists, because archaeologists are people who do research of all olden things, correct? Yeah. And then they write histories about it. So reading those books, we are now able to understand the history, or how the people were, what they were eating, wearing, everything we understand because of the past things available, and the archaeologists do a research on it and they write down. So from that we can make out. Now in olden days, there were, the language used was Persian in Delhi. Okay, for administrators to take care of the Delhi Sultanate, whatever points were written down in the manuscript, that language written was used was Persian. Okay, yeah. And even books, old books were found. Books means the manuscripts were found. Okay, and this manuscripts in olden days, it was known as Tariq. What was it known in Persian language? In singular, in single, if it is a single book, we call as Tariq. And if there are many manuscripts, we call it as Tawarik. Understood? The Tariq and Tawarik are nothing but the manuscripts, the histories of old times which were written by the intelligent people over there during those age. Now, who are the people who could write manuscripts? They were the poet, the writers, correct? Then the learned men who knew to read and write, and who were understanding the management, how to admin the whole thing. So this all was done, and because of these manuscripts and all, we are now able to know about the history of 12th century, 13th century and all that, correct? Now, there were good writers also, writers or poets also, who used to write and send messages, like he used to write and give that manuscripts to kings, so that the kings understand how to manage the, or how to admin the people, how to do better for the people. There was one Fakir A. Mudabir in the 13th century. He had written, king cannot live without the soldiers, and soldiers cannot live without salary. Now why people become soldiers? So that they can earn money, correct? If they are soldiers, king will give them money so that his family can be run out, he can purchase food, clothing, shelter, correct? So money is required, so they became soldiers. Now it is a simple fact, correct? King without a soldier, he cannot be powerful, so he requires soldiers. And soldiers, why they become soldiers? To earn money, correct? Yeah. But the money which the soldiers get, that is from whom? The people from the kingdom, correct? And especially that is from the revenue, or the money which is collected by the king from the peasants. Who are peasants, kids? The farmers. Now kids, in olden days, there were many problems. Today also there are problems. What if the rain only doesn't fall? Then how will the farmer grow the crops? Then farmer will not have money, na? How farmer earns money? Only if the crops are grown, and if he sells it, then he gets money, correct? So it was very difficult for the farmers to pay revenue. Revenue means the money which, like at present we pay tax. In olden days it was called as revenue, the money which farmers have to pay to the king. So farmers have to pay to the king, and that then money king will pay a part of it to the soldiers. So it was Farik E. Mudabri who wrote, okay, we should be very just and honest. The king should be very just and honest, means king should not demand revenue when king knows that there was no rainfall that year. These all, there were many writers and authors who used to advise king. Now some kings were taking the advice, some kings were not taking the advice, depends. The good ones were taking, others were not taking. Okay. And there were some advisors, means some of the writers, the ministers. Advisors means who used to give advice to the rulers means the kings. There were some advisors who were forcing the king to maintain to maintain the order, to maintain the smoothness of the kingdom, for the happiness of the people. We should follow the ideas of birthright and gender distinctions. Now what do you mean by birthright? According to them, if you are born in a, you can say, if you are born in a moneylender's family, your kid will also do the same work. He has a right to do the same work. If you are a revenue collector, a family, your father is a revenue collector, then the son, when he grows up, he will also do the same work. So this was forced by many of the advisors that we should continue this system. Same way we should continue gender system, gender distinction. Gender distinction means in olden days it was a belief no queen, no girl can become a queen. The whole kingdom has to be taken care only by the king. No girls were allowed to become the king over there. Okay, girls cannot be the king that way. These were the beliefs which the advisors insisted the kings to follow. So these were some wrong thinkings, correct? Because of this, what happened? The rich and poor gap went on increasing. Same way, you find, though these rules were there were many who fighted, and women became the king. One of them was Razia Sultan. She was the daughter of Iltutmish. Okay, Sultan Iltutmish. When he died, while dying, he declared, my daughter Razia, though he had 4 sons, but she was very intelligent and she knew everything about how to manage the kingdom. So his father said, while dying, my next person to become the king will be Razia. There were many people who opposed, but Razia became, and she proved to be a very good king. Okay, she could do it very well. But there are many people who oppose, many writers like Minhas-e-Sira. Minhas-e-Sira, he was also one writer, one advisor. He knew Razia is very qualified other than the brothers, but he was not comfortable that a girl is becoming a king or a girl is ruling the whole kingdom. Correct? So somewhere his ideas were wrong. That way there were many other 2-3 women who became king, and there were in olden days it was the coin, the money which was there, the king who is there, their face is there on the coin. Okay, and the name is over there. So there was one king, there was one woman, one was Razia who became the Sultan, then one was Rudra Mahadev. Okay, Rudra Mahadev. Even coins of Rudra Mahadev were found out, from which we came to know even she was a king. She ruled one of the kingdoms in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, the name of that place was Warangal. Nowadays we call it Andhra Pradesh. In olden days it was known as Kakatiya dynasty of Warangal. Presently the place which is in Andhra Pradesh. Then there was one queen who was with respect called as Dida. Dida meaning means Didi, means a sister. So it was with love and affection. People used to call them, and the coin was in the name of Didi, in the name of Dida. Dida means a sister. So these were some wrong beliefs which some people fighted and they broke it. Okay kids, we continue tomorrow. Till then, see you. Bye bye.